Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Doctor Who, even though we said we wouldn't.
I was going to say, again?
Wouldn't talk about Doctor Who. But there is, now, this is a really interesting situation with Doctor Who, because all of the kind of the mainstream left-leaning media outlets that were hating on the haters are now sort of doing an about-face and starting to slam on the series, on Series 11's shortcomings as well.
Well, they're saying they're not slamming. They're just pointing some things out.
They're concerned.
And like that last one, you had like, what, 8 things? I'm like, we're not slamming on it with 8 things.
Yeah, and it was literally like every complaint that YouTubers and some right-leaning blogs
and Rotten Tomatoes people
and Rotten Tomatoes had about the series. They basically reiterated everything, except they tried to soften the blow by starting it with like, it's brilliant, it's wonderful, it's the best thing ever, but it sucks, and here's why. And of course they wait until after. Now this is what's weird, they wait until after the series is over to start criticizing it. So very interesting to see these media outlets kind of doing an about face. Now this is coming from Bleeding Cool. Maybe you don't recognize Bleeding Cool because I have the ad blocker on. So it's very hard to recognize.
You have to, though.
There's nothing left of the site when you turn the ad blocker on. You have to. Bleeding Cool is just littered with ads. It doesn't even load.
Well, I meant we had to. Yeah, because we just do the video.
We just can't.
We couldn't get it to work,
we can't get the site to work. So this is coming from Bleeding Cool. Doctor Who Series 12. So we're speculating about Series 12 already, and it's still over, a year away. The real big bad responsible for the 2020 delay.
Let me guess, men.
No, money.
No,
almost.
I knew the answer.
Almost. It does start with an M. There's one reason why the show has been delayed until 2020, and that is money. Now, what they say is, while money is often the reason a show gets pushed back, the BBC works differently from commercial TV networks because it has to schedule and allocate the money that goes into its shows before they can go into production. Money is the reason Series 11 only had 10 episodes and a special instead of 12 episodes like past series. Money is always tight at the BBC, which you might not notice from the expensive-looking shows they put out every year, but that's how far they stretch the budget to make sure the shows look prestigious. The BBC has had a funding crisis for years now because the Tory government has refused to raise the license fee to keep up with inflation and the rising costs of production. This is because the right... Oh, here we go.
Yep, see, they're going to blame me.
They're going to blame politics. This is because the right-wing government in the UK has always believed the BBC to be a hotbed of biased leftist viewpoints.
After that season, I have no idea why they think that.
I can't imagine why.
I can't imagine why they think that.
That never give them a fair shake. That's debatable, given the way BBC...
debatable?
BBC News usually takes the establishment
BBC
view.
News, I agree with that. BBC News is great for being fair, but that's not the rest of it. Go ahead.
But every politician, left and right, always complains that reporters are biased against them.
Well, mostly towards one side for sure. Go ahead.
The result of a perpetually underfunded BBC is that virtually every drama series the BBC makes needs a foreign co-producing partner to help fund them, including American, Australian, and Canadian networks. PBS co-funds a lot of British shows. Netflix and Amazon co-fund many BBC shows in exchange for streaming rights in the US. AMC has co-produced dramas, blah, 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 blah. And BBC America co-produces Doctor Who. We did know that. Doctor Who got a lot more expensive once BBC America got involved with Matt Smith's season. You saw a huge uptick in the production quality, I think because of that. So Doctor Who is one of the BBC's most popular shows. It boasts a global audience of 90 million viewers. Well,
that's debatable.
Yeah. So they talked about the merchandise. It doesn't go to the budget for Doctor Who. The money from all sales involving BBC properties is collected by a division called BBC Worldwide and goes into a general fund for all programming at the BBC. So Doctor Who bankrolls everything else, I guess. Yeah. But then they don't recycle the money into Doctor Who. That's all programming at the BBC TV and radio, everything from scripted dramas, yada yada.
Everything.
Okay. This means that the producers of Doctor Who can only make the show when the BBC finally allocates the budget for it. The BBC makes decisions based on what is best for the public interest, not what would make them the most money.
Well, clearly not this one.
Clearly not. That is what makes the BBC different from commercial TV and every American TV network.
Because American TV networks are based on what shows are actually going to make money.
Right. The BBC is a not-for for-profit organization and it allocates budgets. This is the Voldemort that showrunner Chris Chibnall and his predecessors will never discuss openly because they don't want to throw the BBC bean counters under the bus, causing a bigger fuss than what's already been kicked off.
But yet you supposedly know all about it, are here to tell us all.
Well, this is actually good information to have, though, because the BBC does work differently than American television. American television, it'll be like, what do we need to get more advertisers? More explosions. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, no, but then, when shows don't perform, or they do
when they
crappy,
don't perform,
then...
it doesn't benefit anybody because nobody's going to buy the merchandise.
And then if the fan base is there, they do a write-in campaign and get it back, and it gets taken to one of the other networks, and that's what happens. And then that's how they stay alive. If they're popular, they'll show.
Well, look at Sesame Street. Sesame Street was public funded for years, and then HBO stepped in and kind of took it over, ramped up the production values on it.
Now Grover apparently says the F word.
Now Grover's swearing because
I never heard
he's on HBO,
I kept
so he can say
I cannot hear the F word.
He can say I can hear it. I can hear it. Grover
You would.
totally swears. Anyway, you can't make a show when you haven't been given the money, and the money is always in short supply in filmmaking, particularly Doctor Who. So when Chibnall said Series 12 would take longer because he needs more time to make it, well, it's the most diplomatic answer he can give. It's about money, not skill or talent or personnel.
It's about skill also.
Money is compounding the problem. Money is going to compound the problem. So they're going to blame just money on the show. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is it was obvious watching Series 11 they were cutting corners compared to previous seasons.
They didn't put the bad guys in. I think that's why they left the villains out. Where are the villains? Because we're cheaper.
That's exactly it. Like, okay, so they use the merchandising. They use the merchandising to bankroll, other BBC programs. What kids are gonna want to buy a Graham and Ryan's dad coffee playset?
The coffee set playset.
The coffee playset where they can sit down.
The money went for all those teeth they needed for what's his nuts.
Oh, that dude, Tim Shaw.
Yeah,
Tim Shaw,
they need all the teeth and I'm sure teeth aren't cheap.
No, they're not. If you've been to a cosmetic dentist lately, good teeth are not cheap.
So we have that one bad guy. So, and I'm sure that lovely rocket scene from the New Year special with the tanks and the midair rocket.
Yeah, that looked like they just kind of crowdsourced that one.
That took a lot of money, guys.
Yeah. So I mean, it was obvious. Series 11. I mean, this is kind of Series 11 was not given the same budget that Moffat's seasons were given, obviously. I mean, you watch it and it's like, oh, let's go to a very pedestrian neighborhood where we don't have special effects.
But why? You know what I'm saying? If that's their moneymaker and that's what they bank on, that's what they need to do well, why would you not give the money to it? You gave it before, and their number's supposed to be so far up. Why would there be no money? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't understand. It's like sense. It takes look, maybe the math works differently in the UK, but it takes money to make money. And you invest in Doctor Who, then you get it back in merchandise and advertising in the US because the Matt Smith era was crazy popular and they had all kinds of toys and they had all kinds of merchandise that people were buying.
Seems counterintuitive to me.
Yeah, you think that would benefit the entire BBC to have this show do well and have this show move merchandise if that is actually how this works.
And if they really expected her to be the best doctor ever and it was going to have the biggest audience because it was a woman, you'd think that you'd bank on that.
Yeah, or, the other option, and they've done this before, they did with David Tennant, is don't do a full series this year, just do a couple of specials.
He already cut down on her.
I know, but cut it down to like 2 or 3 movies or whatever.
That were really good.
Really good.
That would have been smart.
That would have been smart, but that's not.
Because one, you would give a chance to get a female doctor in there, and it would have given people a chance to adjust to it. 2, you could have got, made it like show her as actually being the doctor and not just, I don't know what that's supposed to be. And then 3, you could have got the villains in there people expect and how she reacts to the villains, hopefully, and not in a bumbling, moronic way like the special. And if you had done that right, it might have been all you needed to get to proof of concept almost to get it for more funding and more people into it for the next season.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't understand the logic in this. It just seems to me that if you're going to push the first female doctor, then you give them everything they need to make sure the show doesn't fall flat. And some of the problems I think did come down to budget, and some of it was just the.
I think it was this bonehead choices.
Just a lot of poor choices. So the rumor is it's being pushed back to 2020.
Well, better bring it next time.
They better bring it.
What they're going to do, they're going to go back and do everything the fans said they wanted, and then they're going to say, oh, we didn't do it last time because of money. It wasn't because we just didn't want to do it. It was because of money.
No, that's exactly what's going to
I know that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, and then they're going to be like, oh, well, you know what, you haters, you just didn't give the Doctor enough time to grow.
Right.
And you know, you were prematurely bashing her, and, you know, but look at the, and yeah, they probably will. I would expect a shit ton of explosions and robots and Cybermen and Daleks and junk in the next series because they know they need that to bring this
right. That's what I'm saying.
back. It's going to be full on freaking ridiculous. Or not. You know, they can't.
If it's not, they're screwed. Right?
They can't afford to cheap out on the next series because that will literally, the next season of Doctor Who will make or break, I think, the show. Because if it continues to perform like Series 11 has performed, there is no reason to keep it on the air.
Right.
Because it's diminishing returns. So, I don't know.
But it's not as bad as the last season of...
It's not as bad as Capaldi's last season, ratings-wise. Yeah, I don't think many kids are going to be asking for a Tim Shaw action figure anytime soon.
That's a new Tooth Fairy.
That's a new Tooth Fairy. It's Tim Shaw. Tim Shaw. All right, so we're going to wrap this one up. Thanks so much for watching Clownfish TV. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, rants, art videos, gaming videos, and more. This has been Neon and Geeky.
Bye.
Goodbye.